KPU में हो रहा है पॉप विद अ कॉप नाम का एक इवेंट और वहाँ पर आपको RCMP के साथ कोई भी क्वेश्चन आंसर्स जो हैं वो हो रहे हैं. सो लेट्स गो. ऑलरेडी लेट हूँ, 10 बज चुके हैं एंड इवेंट 11 बजे शुरू होने वाला है. सो लेट्स गो. सो फाइनली हम पहुँच गए हैं KPU में और अभी इवेंट जो है वो हो रहा है सीडर बिल्डिंग में. सो लेट्स गो टू द सीडर बिल्डिंग एंड लेट मी शो यू व्हाट इज हियर.
My name is Johal. I'm with the Diversity and Indigenous People Unit, and Sergeant Dale Waring is part of my team. He's, as you can see, a little different uniform. He's with Surrey Police Service. Surrey Police Service will be taking over Surrey RCMP, and that's why they're here. Sergeant Khalid Dillon is with Crime Reduction Unit, also called as Community Response Unit, and we have Constable Funnel, who is part of my team. In Canada, life is not all about enforcement. Police agi, that means you're going to jail. This is not the case here. We do a lot of prevention, we do a lot of education. We're out in schools, we're out on universities, we're everywhere. We talk to seniors, to kids, to university students, you name it. At the end of the day, my goal today is that if you can learn a few things, whether it's your rights in Canada, what to do, what not to do, how to behave, not to behave. If you have a personal question, a private question, come talk to me. This is why I have all these police officers here, so that way we can answer your questions. And here, if we help somebody, we are genuinely helping you. We're in the public service industry. My number one job is your safety. And part of emergency services is police, fire, and ambulance. When you call 911, what happens? It goes to one of these three people. It's not always that. A lot of times you associate with 911, oh, police. It's not always that. So if you have somebody, you're living with a senior, even your landlord upstairs or somebody in the garden, front yard, backyard, if somebody's having a heart attack, 911. When a traffic stop is made by an unmarked car and then somebody in plain clothes, you have, this is your rights. You are well within your rights to ask them for their badge and picture ID. So when would you call 911? When someone's life is in danger or there's an immediate threat to the person's property. We also protect property, and like for example, if somebody's breaking a window, their intention is to go in, but they haven't actually gone in, right? They've only broken. So that's something you can call 911, sorry. Their intent is to go inside, right? A crime in progress, such as rape and enter. If you see, look out your window and there's some guy peeping into your cars, call 911. It is something in progress. It's in progress that is happening in front of your eyes, right? When a serious crime has just happened and suspect basically near and or pregnancy. Prowler, for example. If somebody is looking like that, cartoon, is walking around and is dressed like that, long trench coat, glasses, mask, hoodie, hat, and he's being suspicious, peeking into people's houses, peeking into people's cars, 911. Right? A fight in progress. You step outside your university and two students or a group of students are fighting, call 911. Why? It's something in progress. And if you ever call 911, which is not a 911 call, I know our staff will never call you back or say, oh geez, this is not a 911. Why did you call me? We will never do that. We will still take the call, and the police officer attending the scene, if you say, hey, I'm complaining, they might say, well geez, this is a fraud that's happened in the past, so you need to call 911. You see what I'm saying? So 911, when we receive 911, our antennas are up. Something big, bad, something in progress is going on. Yeah, if you accidentally call 911, stay on the line. Stay on the line. If you hang up, we're calling back. If you don't pick up, we're trying to find your location. We'll find you and we'll come talk to you. Here, we can very easily find out from your cell phone location as to where you are, right? So if you make a 911 call accidentally, stay on the phone. Stay on the phone and tell us that, hey, there's nothing going on, everything is okay. I touched my phone and I accidentally died. We'll ask you who you are, blah, blah, blah. Are you okay?
We get a lot of accidental 911, especially with the iPhones now. That's a really big problem. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had that. Some people have had that experience where you you trying to turn off your alarm, and then it accidentally calls 911. And then sometimes, if you're home, we have to come and check to make sure that you're okay. You're not in trouble. You're not going to get a fine or anything like that. That's not what happens. The purpose of us coming to your house is to make sure that you're okay. Because sometimes people call 911 and they might be being held hostage, or they might be in trouble with somebody. And if you and me are having an argument and you see me calling 911, that might make you angry or make somebody else angry. So then they say, oh no, I didn't call. It was an accident. So we have to come to make sure that was it actually an accident, right? Is this person being blackmailed? Are they being threatened, right? And sometimes it can be an inconvenience. But just imagine if you were actually in that situation, you would definitely want a police officer to come. The Community Response Unit is a group of members. It's a unit that is responsible for targeting community-oriented problems, drug houses, neighborhood problems, community issues, right? But it's important to know, one of your friends hanging out with you all the time, all of a sudden stops hanging out with you, see him once in a while, is always sweating, always shaking, something's up. Something's wrong with this person. Not responding to your texts, phone calls, right? You might call non-emerge and be like, hey, I'm worried about this person. You guys want to check up on him? And we do that. I would talk to this person for 2 weeks. I used to talk to them every single day. Can you guys make sure he's alive? We will absolutely do that. If I have to kick in his door, I will do that to make sure that he's alive. But it's important to know those symptoms. Yeah, last time I saw him, he was shaking, he was sweating a lot, and he was really dizzy, and he was talking about nothing's going on good in his life. And those are signs. You need to know what those signs are. So unexplained change behavior, withdrawn or edgy, people get angry quickly, loss of motivation, decline in school performance, secretive, smell on clothing or breath. You look at their eyes, pupils get dilated, or they're smaller than usual. Something, they don't look right. And change in peer group and don't talk about their friends.
So what happens when you get charged? Police gets involved, we arrest you, we charter, caution, follow the legal requirement, we take you back to the detachment, you're photographed, fingerprinted. So what happens? You're charged and convicted now. You go to court, you get convicted. The judge says, yeah, you did what you did, you're guilty. Boom. And now it's time to sentence. As soon as you're charged, we engage CDSA and Immigration Canada. Again, this is given that person's status. Okay? So we have to, it's not a choice. I have to let Immigration Canada know, CDSA know that this is what we have. Okay? And this is serious stuff. To me, this is very serious. Granted, if you're born and raised here, you guys have a full life ahead of you. Once you have a criminal record, you may not be able to travel or cross the border. Your job opportunities, I can tell you, will be very limited because job opportunities right now, you go work for a school, you want to volunteer as a coach, you may be a great cricket player, volleyball player, soccer player. You want to go volunteer, you'll have to get a criminal record. You come to us and ask for a criminal record, we'll give you a criminal record, the school's going to say, thanks but no thanks. We don't want people like you. So it affects everything. Consent is something that is not openly talked about, especially in Indian households. But you, especially girls, you need to know some of these things, okay? A lot of times kids are like, oh, geez, she was talking to me, she was laughing, and I thought we were hugging and kissing, and I took that as consent. But that is not consent. So those are some of the things that's very important. In our household, Indian households, I know we don't talk about this, especially back home in villages and cities, even very few people, parents will have a sit down at the dinner table and have this conversation. But I want you to have some understanding of what consent is. Because there's a lot of things going on in Surrey that are not in the forefront, but stuff is happening, right? If you know somebody who's involved in something, I'm not going to beat around the bush, whether it's prostitution or whether it's sexual exploitation, talk to them. You've spoken to us, get them in touch with us, we'll talk to them. If you know there are things going on, and if a female or a male or whoever, they need that kind of help them out. Sometimes a person may say yes and later be hesitant or feel uncomfortable about continuing. Even if you're in the middle of a sexual act and she happens or he happens to say no, stop, that means no, stop. There's no if or maybe or could you please or none of that. Very important. Very important for our boys to understand, very important for our female students to understand. Consent can be applied to various aspects of daily life, sexual activity, photo sharing. I want to give you an example of photo sharing, information sharing, social interactions. Information sharing, I give you an example of medical information. If it's her medical information, I know about it. I cannot share her medical information to somebody else. I can get sued. Photo sharing, I'll give you an example. There's a hockey team. One of the players was dating a young girl. She sent pictures to that guy because they were boyfriend, girlfriend. I think she was 16 and he was probably 18 or 19. So, and what he did was he shared it with his entire hockey team. She sent those pictures strictly to him, hoping that it's going straight to the boyfriend. But he ended up sharing with the entire team. So now, because she's not of age, it's not only possession of child pornography, it's also distribution of child pornography. So it can land you in some hot water, depending on what information you share. Social media is a phenomenal tool, but at the same time, if you misuse it, it'll come back and hurt you.
So right now इवेंट हो चुका है सारा और MLA हैरी बैंस भी आए थे. So I think event was really good. आपने highlights तो देख ही लिए होंगे कि क्या क्या उन्होंने शो किया. So I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching.